What is up, Diskarte family? Welcome back to another episode. Hoping you guys had an amazing week. If it is your first time watching the Diskarte with Mendy show, my name is Mendy. I talk about Diskarte in business, content creation, personal finance, and overall Diskarte in life. In this episode, I try to give you some tips and tricks on how to budget your money. Guys, it's no lie that budgeting is one of the most difficult things to do as an adult. Adulting means budgeting pretty much, come to think of it. So I don't think I have to tell you, there's many ways to track your budget, right? And also, if you've been watching this channel for a while now, you should know that saving is the first step to blank. Comment in the comment section down below if you know what I mean. Maybe I'll give away another subscription. Nabubulol-bulol na naman ako, guys. Ewan ko, excited lang ako sa episode na to. So, anyways, just going back, having a really good understanding of where your money comes from and where your money is spent or where your money goes to, may it be a small expense, your bills, big expenses, will pay off tenfold when you are trying to build your wealth. Guys, umuulan nga pala, no? So kung narinig niyo yung ulan, well, hopefully hindi. Feeling ko naman hindi kasi nakikita ko yung level ng audio dito. But please be patient. Feeling ko naman titigil na siya. Kanina medyo lumakas yan. Actually, pangalawang beses ko nang i-film tong portion na to kasi ang lakas talaga. Anyways, going back. Actually, guys, itong sheet na gagawin natin, ginaya ko lang to sa isa pang sheet called Aspire. Okay? Ilalagay ko yung link down below. Aspire, though, is also a clone of a web app or a web software, a web budgeting software called YNAB or You Need a Budget. Itong YNAB na to, nakita ko to mga 4 or 5 years ago. Meron siyang trial, sinubukan ko yung trial. Mind blown, guys. Try the trial nga pala. Ipopost ko rin down below yung link. Meron siyang set of rules. This is why yung diskarte ko sa budgeting completely changed. Rule number 1 nila is give every dollar a job. So, even if saving siya, that's a job for your money. If it is your bills, that is a job for your money. If it is a trip 3 months down the road, that is a job for your money. Medyo confusing siya, alam ko, but the entire idea of this type or this strategy for budgeting is meron talagang pinaglalagyan yung pera mo, whatever the situation is. Anyway, mamaya makikita nyo, the second rule is embrace your bills. And this is really, really powerful for me. Ang dami ko nakikita, uy, at 30 na, sweldo na, ang saya! Magbabayad nga pala ako ng credit card, tsaka ng kuryente, tsaka ng internet, tsaka ng... So mamaya makikita nyo how we can embrace our true bills or true expenses through this strategy. Number 3 is roll with the punches. This is also another thing that I like about this strategy or this method of budgeting because kaya mo mag-adjust. You can see where your budget is going. You can see where your money is headed. Number 4 is age your money. You will understand this once we are building the sheet. Number 5, this is me assuming na you already have an emergency fund. If you need to use this to be able to build your emergency fund, please do so. Without the security of an emergency fund, you're always gonna feel, a different emotion, right, around money if you do not have money stored as an emergency fund. I don't know how many times I've said emergency fund. Number 6 is you need to have multiple accounts. Generally, one account for your emergency fund, another account for your actual savings, and another account for your expenses. If you've got a payroll account, you should never really leave money in your payroll account because that's a hotbed for hackers. 3 accounts should do it. Hindi mo nakikita yung pera mo altogether. Also, it's safer if in case one of your accounts gets hacked. If you aren't comfortable with 3 accounts, then whatever. But that's how I did it. Number 7 is you have to have predetermined expenses. That's just it. You can't wing your budgeting. If you haven't seen my other video talking about this, please do. But you can't wing budgeting. You have to have everything predetermined in order for this method to work. And last but not the least, which is actually my favorite, and also I think my strength when it comes to budgeting, is leave money to reward yourself. If you don't, parati kang gigil, parati kang nagpipigil. At alam natin nangyayari sa mga sarili natin kapag pinipigilan tayo, mas gusto nating
11-11. Anong budget? Sale ngayon.
But before I move forward, I want to remind you guys that this is my sheet. This is how I organize my budget. This is a culmination of the things that I've learned throughout the years. It's a combination between, basic budgeting plus YNAB plus Aspire. That's just something that I need you guys to understand, that this is optimized for me being able to view everything in a very detailed manner. So now, let's get to building that sheet. Decrease the size of this window. Let's go. So guys, ang unang step dito, no, is if you don't know how to use Google Sheets, it's literally the same as Microsoft Excel. If you don't have this, open a Gmail account and look for Google Sheets on the Google Apps area right there, top right. Anyways, so let's name the sheet something very meaningful, aka pinaghirapan. I actually have named my savings account. Every time nakikita ko tong pinaghirapan na word na to, natitrigger ako na I have to save. Anyways, here we go. To begin, we are going to have an accounts sheet. So I'm going to rename this into accounts. I'm going to put the month and then date. This area pretty much will have your accounts, which in my case, I've got bank account number 1, cash on hand. Sorry, I do not include my savings account in this sheet or on this sheet. I'll have another sheet specifically just for my savings. And there's a reason for that. And then what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna put the date today, then I'm gonna put my money inside that account. By the way, hold on, let me just format this entire row. So I'm gonna Control Shift down. So I can go all the way down and then go back up and then format this into financial. There you go. And then cash on hand, let's say about 5,000 pesos cash on hand. So this is your start for the month of September. And then movements. And then I've got the running balance, which we'll do a balance and check with. Now, let's leave these for now. We will come back to them. We will now create a second sheet called dashboard. Now, this is where all the meat of this sheet will be. I want the name of the month, September, and then you will have your starting balance right here, and then on the other end you will need to put available to assign. So guys, again, this budgeting technique is something that I picked up from YNAB and Aspire that I kind of modified to be a little bit easier to understand. If you get into Aspire and YNAB, those things are pretty difficult to understand for the typical person like me. So starting balance, what we're gonna do is do an equal sign, sum, parenthesis, and then go back here. Voila, and then close that out. So I do expenses, and then we'll do available to spend. I typically just put available, but I'm gonna put available to spend for you guys to make it easier for you guys to understand. And then actual, and then budgeted. Budgeted meaning technically saved, more or less, but sometimes you don't save. So, and remember when I said you have to plan your month? This is where you plan your month. What we're gonna do now is we are going to jot down every single thing that you have to spend for the month, and the goal is to spend your entire starting balance, including your savings. And I'll explain this again later, but you'll get what I mean once we go through it. So, classic budgeting technique, you start with debt, right? And under debt, you've got credit card and loans and whatever, utang, whatever. It's the same thing. Credit card and loans. And then next, you've got bills, right? These are technically non-negotiables. So you've got electricity. So these are your non-negotiables, right? These are the things that you receive on a monthly. Spotify. Oh, actually, I don't have Spotify now. I have YouTube, and then I've got Netflix, right? And then after that, we have... Actually, for these guys, I separate them as subscriptions, right? Because these are things you can actually live without. Well, Adobe Suite, I'm not too sure about that. Or Netflix, I don't know, or YouTube or Notion. Anyways, after that, you've got your expenses, which would be, you know, food, fun money, right? So again, you can go all out, whatever you wanna put on here, as long as they have clear categories, right? Categories, okay? Why did I put expenses on there? Sorry. And then you might even want to put some long-term expenses, right? Like, Siargao trip, buy a car, want to buy a PS5. And last but not the least, as an expense, as something that you've got to assign your monthly income for, is your savings. You want to total this out, all of it, right? Equal sign, sum, drag up until the top, boom, and then copy this over through to the next 2 blocks. I actually freeze this just so I can see it easier. There you go. And now what we want to do is we want to be able to determine if we've assigned the entire starting balance by getting the available to assign. So what I want to do is equal sign the starting balance minus the available to spend column total. Boom. So we have 25,000 pesos available to spend, or to assign, sorry. And so what we want to do is split that 25,000 up strategically.
2,000 here, this bill would be, let's say, 3,000, water would be 300 pesos, gas would be 800, internet would be 25. How much is YouTube? Actually don't remember, 199, Netflix is what, 549, Adobe Suite, how much do I spend on Adobe Suite? 28, I think, I don't remember.
And then savings would be a huge portion, actually, 5,000 pesos. So, and then you've got, your Siargao trip, your car, your PS5, but you've only got 100 pesos left. And obviously this is just a representation, but you get what I mean at this point. For your Siargao trip, 10 pesos, 20 for your car, and 72 pesos for that PS5, baby, now are available to assign is at 0. And this is what that first rule a minute ago meant by giving all your money a job. And this is, your money's job at this point. And so what we want to do now is on the budgeted end, we press equals and then go to available to spend value minus actual. Boom. You do that for all the column or for all the entries, all the categories, meaning you copy this and then you paste it on all the categories. And again, this might seem tedious, but trust me, this gets fun, it gets addictive. There you go. Next, we have to fill in the actual expenses, and that is when we create a new sheet in the form of transactions. This may sound a little bit complicated, but please don't get stressed. So what we do is we put date, amount, category, account, and then description. Description is really important, guys. Taking down notes is really important. Don't know why. I just want to number up until 100 because it makes it easy for me to reference if in case I do need to reference. Oh guys, I forgot to put down the month. So what you want to do is you can put down the month any method you want, but what I typically do is select all these cells that cover my my entries and then click this button to merge. Type the month September. This is really important for me to see, guys. Like have an overview of this situation throughout the months because I like reading my behavior, right? And I like to make sure that I am in control of my money. So what we want to do now is get the categories. There should be a drop down here, right? A drop down list. And we want to get that list from the dashboard categories, right? We want that to automatically change if in case you add another, another entry, another category. So what you want to do is click the first cell on your categories, row number 1, under your categories, and then go to data, validation. Go to your dashboard and then drag and drop from the beginning of your categories down until whenever, actually, right? You want to, if you feel like you're going to be adding categories as you go, but that doesn't matter. Just, click a range. Oh, actually, the range didn't. There you go. So click a range, and then you'll see select your data range, and then click up until whatever. Click OK. And then click save. Then we go back to transactions, you will see, there is a drop down. What's great about this drop down as well is it prioritizes the first entry. The first entry is the credit card. It's not alphabetized. So what you want to do is copy this and then paste it all throughout. Again, however many times you think you transact in a month, right? So now you've got your transactions, and then you want to do your account the same way. So go to your account, data validation, but in this time you want to go to accounts, you want to enter a range or formula, or click this window situation, and then do that. Bank 1, number 1, and cash on hand. Boom, shakalaka. There you go. Now you've got your accounts. You want to do that as well. Copy paste that as well. And there you go. You've got your transactions pane, right? You've got your transactions panel. So what we want to do now is we want to go back to dashboard. And this is where it gets confusing. I will just probably copy paste this formula down below. And so what we want to do is create an if statement. I really don't want to explain this because I feel like you guys will get bored. But all we want to do is try to figure out if a specific cell is blank with an if statement, right? We want to ask if C6 or the category is blank. Then we want to return with a blank. And then we do the actual formula, which is a sum if, right? And what we want to do is go to transactions and then click category, right? Click category like so. And then we want to go back to the dashboard and then click categories again. And then we want to go back to transactions and then get row C for the amounts and then close that out. Boom. There you go. So what this does is it gets all the specific transactions under credit card, right? And just to test if it works, what we want to do is enter a date. For example, I paid my credit card today. I paid 2,000 pesos. Category, credit card. Oh, sorry. Again, want to format the any numbers into financial. Credit card, and then the account should be bank number 1. It's coming from bank, or the payment is coming from bank number 1. Description, ouch. You don't have to put description, but it just makes things interesting and detailed. So you can see here, it has pulled the 2,000 pesos. And as you can see here, budgeted is 0. That means you spent the entire amount that you put available, or you put available to spend. And again, this is how your system works. You assign money, it waits for you to spend real money on that to be able to see if you actually spent the entire amount, or maybe you saved, or maybe you overspent, right? That's what budgeted tells us. Okay, so for example, let's say I, overpaid my loan, right? Because why not? So I paid 3,000 on my loan instead of the 2,000, right? Let's copy paste this. There you go. There is a negative or an open and close indication under the budgeted. What this means is I went over my budget, over my plan. Not necessarily a bad thing, but you will have to offset this with something else out of the 25,000 pesos. Does that make sense? I'll show you as we go. So, electricity, let's say we paid our bills, right? Tamang-tama lang yung bayad natin. Electricity, water, gas, internet. Again, paste our formula to all of the categories. So it pulls out that data through the transactions. Okay, so for subscriptions, again, this is probably something that we will have to pay.
YouTube, Netflix, Adobe, Notion, Bank 1,
And then now, this is where it gets interesting. As you can see here, I assigned 4,000 of my 25,000 pesos to food. But, nag-diet ako, right? Pinilit kong magutom para pumayat, which is a bad thing. Don't do that. Anyways, let's just say I just spent 3,000 pesos on food. This is food groceries, right? Oh, actually, we have to add snacks. I was right in the initial round. We have to add snacks. And then groceries. Let's just say I spent 3,000 pesos on groceries. Wait, let's just split this up. 3,500 and then 500 on snacks. Okay, there you go. So let's say I only spent 3,000 pesos. I'd be saving 500 pesos, right? Assign this to groceries, bank 1. Look at that. I saved, this is a positive number, 500 pesos. And guys, this is me going through the entire month, right? This doesn't happen on one sitting, right? Your transactions actually, just to simulate, right? Ganyan yung itsura niyan dapat. Okay, whatever. Different dates. But what we're trying to do here is I'm trying to show you how the system works. So, I now saved 500 pesos. Tapos, hindi pa ako lumabas. Right? Hindi ko ginamit yung kotse ko. So, I saved another 500 pesos. Right? Zero yung actual ko sa gas. And then fun money, we gotta have some fun, aka spend on games, diba? Apps. Fun money, where's that? Fun money. And then I did that, say, 28th bank. So snacks, again, I didn't spend on that. And then you've got the Siargao trip, which, 10. I want to save for Siargao, car, PS5. And then you've got savings. So you want to put 5,000 pesos on savings. Here we go. As you can see, under budgeted, we've got a total of 500 pesos positive. This means, right, that we actually saved another 500 pesos on top of the savings of 5,000. And that, my friends, is how the system works. So at this point, what you want to do is create another sheet called savings. And then you want to put total savings, and then freeze that again like usual. Then you want to put date, savings. And guys, the only reason I want to do this, or I do this to myself, is because I want to be proud of myself as to how much money I saved. Equal sign, go back to transactions, get that 5,000 peso savings, get that budgeted positive at 5,000 pesos. All right, and so total savings as well, we forgot to sum that. There you go. So you got 5,500 worth of savings in September. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to be proud of. So what we're going to do now is we are going to pull the data, right? All the transactions for bank number one. You can actually even call these transactions. I call them movements. I don't know why. I have weird terms for a lot of other things. But what we want to do is pull all the bank number one statements, right, from the transactions. So what we want to do, easy does it, go to the dashboard, get the actual formula, actual formula, and then paste that there, and then change the if statement is blank to bank number one, D2, and then change this to D2 as well, and then change this to E, I think it was. Wait, is it E? I think it is E. Wait, is it E? E. Right. There you go. Yep. Why does it say 700? What, 711,000? Oh, that's because it was B. All right, there you go. Change the number that it's calling, or the data that it's calling, to row, or it's column C. There you go. And then we do running start minus the transactions. So you overspent, which shouldn't happen. This should always be 0 or positive, right? That just means we have to change some transactions to cash on hand. And this is how you know this is how you reconcile. Cash on hand, cash on hand, cash on hand, cash on hand. I guess in order to not do this is just make sure that you put down the right account. If you've got multiple accounts, by the way, if you want to factor in your payroll account, for example, so what I do actually is I get my payroll account and transfer my savings target directly from there into my savings account. And so you've got bank number 2 with 20,000 again. Just format that. There you go. Copy, copy, copy. Copy, copy, copy. There you go. There you go. Wait, sorry. We didn't lock this again. The shortcut to this is actually F4. So just go to these values and these rows, click F4 and they should lock in place. There you go. So, see, this is why we had to go to F. Do you get what I mean? Or H, sorry. There you go. So I have another 20,000, which I should just put to savings to make that 0. Does that make sense? And now, being that I get, and this is the payroll account, so let's just say payroll, whatever. Payroll, expenses account, and then just change these values to expenses. So let's go Control Shift, all of this. We're building a sheet, but again, once you've built this, then you actually, you know what? Maybe I'll just give this sheet away for free if you want to copy it directly. There you go. Save, and then you got payroll. There you go. Now, if your account values change in the in-between, do not factor them in. You will have to stick to what you started off and then just add that new balance to a new month. So this is your dashboard, guys. So you now see where your money is going. You can even format this conditionally. So format, go to conditional formatting. Anything greater than 0 should have, text color of green. And then add another condition. Less than 0 should be red. Oh, sorry. Take that away. So whenever it's green, you know that you saved money. Whenever it's red, you may have spent a little more. Actually, let me show you, like fun money, for example. If you spend too much on fun money, then you know that you spent too much. But right, because you didn't spend everywhere, on groceries and gasoline and snacks, right? So you've got 1.5 that you overspent on, and then you save money here. Now you know, oh, you don't have to feel bad because you actually balanced out your entire budget for the month, which was 45,000 pesos, and now you're at 0. That's it. And you can even see your transactions in its glory. Kung saan ka gumastos, kung saan ka, napasobra. And you can even, do a filter, for example, if you want. So, data, create a filter. There you go. Check the dates, when you were most, spending, 23rd, for example. There's a lot of ways, guys, that you can modify this. But what's important is you have full visibility of where your money is going before it heads there, before it goes there. Now, let's create a new month. Copy this, paste it, rename it to October. This is when I said it gets a little bit tedious, but I just like doing this on a monthly because this is money, guys. We have to make sure that we understand where our money is going. So starting balance, let's do the October numbers. Boom. There you go, 45,000 again. And then transactions should be referring to. So transactions, we add again October. So that should be changed as well. So now that the transactions have changed, J and L, L right there, and then J. Guys, for those of you who want to use this, I'll just maybe make a budget sheet up until December. So pretend you were doing this on October. Well, you shouldn't have that running amount there because you only put a date on there again on the running amount if you are consolidating. And then we do, you can just repeat this, right? Or if you've got something new, for example, expenses, you want to add expense of you're going out on a lot of dates, right? This month. And you want to reshuffle your budget. So that means you only have 45,000 a month. What that means is you're going to have to sacrifice your snacks for dates. But hey, might just be the same thing anyways. So copy, and then don't forget to do your data validation. And again, this seems a little bit tedious, but I've got an entire year. I built on one sitting, buong taon na, data validation. There you go. So clear this out, go to the dashboard, go to October, and then get your categories, boom shakalaka, save. And then now you should have dates on there. There you go, 500. You're on 0, right? So you've got 44,000 pesos to spend. Again, unahin natin ang credit, loan, and you do it all over again. You can even add charts. I have a chart pane where I only see charts. That's an entirely different story altogether, but just to show you, chart. Your x-axis should be your categories. There you go. Bloop. And then your series should be the amounts on those categories from actual. Now you can see that your savings, a bunch of your money went to your savings, right? And you've got the amounts there. It's just fun to see, guys. And you do this for the next month. There's a lot of manual work. Again, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that I can, do to improve this, but I just wanted to show you guys a really basic or the fundamentals of how I track my budget, how I track my savings, and how I track my future, where my money is going, where I'm going. Siargao. By the end of September, I'll do a vlog on that. Hopefully that wasn't too much of a mouthful. I tried my best to explain this as simple as I can. Technically, social na enveloping lang to eh. Maglalagay ka ng amount sa envelope. Diba? Tapos pupunuin mo yung envelope na yun. Predetermined yung amount ng budget mo. Wala pa yung pera doon, pero kailangan malagyan mo yun one way or another. Kahanap ka ng diskarte para malagyan yun. As I mentioned, the person that got my age correctly is this guy. So yes, I am 25 years old. Loko lang, ito yung nanalo, guys. Congratulations, I've sent you a DM. Let's figure out how we can do Notion or maybe choose one of these books over here. Thank you so much for trying to guess my age, even if nakakaya. I should not have asked that, by the way. Now, I am regretting it. So that is it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Maybe even follow me on Instagram. Like this video for the YouTube algorithm para lumabas pa siya at mapanood ng ibang tao at makatulong kahit papano sa ibang tao. So that is it for this episode, guys. And as I always say before I end the episode, stay healthy, stay humble, and appreciate the small things. My name is Mendy, and this has been Diskarte with Mendy.